Okay, we got to the appointment or the inspection at about 9 o'clock this morning, and we're just wrapping it up right about now. So I'm going to walk around the property, give you a brief description of what's going on so that you can have a heads up here. A lot of the things I'm about to show you and things we're about to talk about are pretty typical and common, and some of the things that I'm going to show you are atypical and not common and require attention. So let's go and take a look at those things. Basically, this is typical and common where you have tree roots that are lifting up concrete, okay, causing a trip hazard at the front of the house. You really can't do much about this except try to control it until you have to repair the driveway. All right. Other things that you see almost immediately is where the water comes in on the property. It comes in right here at the northwest corner. Okay, and as we walk towards the house and we stick to the left side, which is the north side of the building, you're going to see the main water valve. You're going to see a repair that we're going to recommend for this over here. You can see that the handle is damaged. You see that under there? So we would want to make sure that that gets repaired so you're able to use it in case of an emergency. On this side of the house, which is the north side, we also have the main service disconnect panel. This is that box right here. Okay, in here you'll have 150 amp service main disconnect right there. Okay. And essentially, this is in case you have to shut the power off for any reason in the house, whether it's an emergency or you're going to make repairs. Also on the north side of the building, I've got the air conditioner. This is the compressor or condenser unit. Okay, if we zoom in here on the label, you can see that it was manufactured in 2003. It is a 3.5 ton unit. It's made by Rudd. That's a pretty good brand. It is cooling and heating right now and working at this time. Okay, one of the recommendations in the report I'm going to make is to remove the wire that's installed here. That's kind of somewhat of a safety hazard. It's not done correctly, and you would want to consider taking care of that to prevent any accidents or injuries. As we walk around the side of the building, a couple things I noticed. Minor cracks in the stucco. You got those at the north and south walls. That's normal. Okay. Coming right around here, there's a damaged window. You can see that. The glass is damaged there at the bottom sash. You'd want to get that repaired or replaced. Some other things you'll notice as well, recommendations in the report. Again, these are typical and common. We see them in a lot of homes, but it is important to identify them and just explain what they are. They're not controlling water from the roof, so you probably would want to put gutters on the building. A lot of these loose wires, I would recommend getting them either removed or securing them properly. But then if you glance down along the wall, you see all the erosion taking place at the side of the building. That's diminishing the grade. That's not the best condition or an optimum condition. You want to improve that. So that's a recommendation that we have. At the back of the house, they used to have some kind of an awning or something back here. You can see the remnants of the wood strip at the top where I think it was installed. And some of the stuff down here, I'm not sure if they were in the process of doing things or demolishing things as far as removing. The tiles are damaged, some are loose, there's cracks at the patio. You're going to want to just figure out what it is, what your goals are here in the back, and you know, clean this up and make it yours. This outlet over here is one of a couple outside that need to be replaced. This is a outlet that's GFI that's not working, that is no longer weather protected. So that should be replaced with a GFI that is weather protected. There's one just like it, only it's surface mounted on the north side of the house under the electrical panel that also needs to be replaced. And as we walk around the side of the building, a lot of the conditions that we saw on the north side, we see here on the south side. Okay, no controlling the water runoff. You got the erosion here. So once again, these are areas that I think you should pay attention to. The south side of the building, this is the master bathroom window. It looks to me like they altered this. I'm not sure exactly what they did. I'm glancing at it. It's cracked around the area where they did the work, so you probably want to seal those open cracks. Double check the window installation with a contractor. Make sure that there's nothing crazy going on behind the wall or anything like that. But essentially, okay, what they did here, you can hear the difference. Some of this is wood. They cut it out, and they probably had a larger window here that they made smaller, and that's why you have the wood spacing that they did. They also created a box out, I believe, to accommodate a shelf near the tub. Again, you can see the cracks on the side of the building. That's normal. Those are the things we talk about day in, day out. At each and every house we do, very similar conditions are present. Now in the report, you're going to see that there's a roof leak. At least it's leaked previously, and that is going to be right here at that corner, right where the porch wall meets the garage roof. It also leaked here at this corner of the gable. the leak was limited to above the soffit only, so you only damage, so where the water damage is in a small area like 3 or 4 inches is above the soffit at the roof deck in the back of the fascia. So you'd want to have a contractor just go up there and just maybe look at that and see how best to prevent further water penetration when you have a lot of rain, which is usually during the summertime. Okay, and if you come with me over here, you can see this is a area where you have some damage. You have wood rot here. There was obviously a problem there that they tried to fix, and the side light is shattered, so you definitely want to replace that. Another thing you want to do is, if you look here, the installation of this door is incorrect. Well, the installation of actually the light itself also, this should be the interior side. Whenever you have screws to remove this light, it enables theft. I mean, people can remove the screws and actually open that up, put their hand in and open the door. So have a contractor look at the door and the side light and the damage and just make those repairs accordingly. Now, as we went into the house, I noticed a lot of things. The first thing you see is this is an extremely cluttered environment, very difficult to actually get to most things. But I got here and did the best I could. Water heater is in the back corner here, southeast corner of the garage, and the air handler is at the south wall. I'm sorry, that would be the east wall. But most important thing I found here is there was an odor that we noticed, and that odor seemed to emulate from the air handler unit. There is some mold here, but I think when I pulled the filter out, I saw mold at the filter. I don't know how much mold is on the inside of this, but it warrants being cleaned up. And as you come in here, on a side note here, just to let you know, here's where the main electrical panel is as far as your sub panel goes. I was able to move this away and open it up and look inside of it. I won't move it now again, but I had to move some stuff to be able to get to what I needed to get to. Okay, and washer and dryer, you can see the dryer is not functional. Washing machine, it ran a full cycle, it completed it, so it's functional as far as I'm concerned. Back to the air handler and the mold. When I walked in the house, there was a humid odor. We smelled it. You can look at the air handler, the registers at the ceiling. Several of these have discoloration. Now, in and of itself, that is not typically a huge problem. Okay, but what it's telling me is that we definitely had contaminants, dust, possibly mold get into the duct system. So what you do when you see those conditions is you look for other conditions that are conducive to mold, which I did. I found active moisture in both bathrooms. I've got leaking under the kitchen sink. I've got toilets that are not set properly and loose. And these are all conditions that would allow mold to thrive because it's active moisture in an environment where it's feeding it. Now, if you go over to the windows, you can see the mold at the bottom of the windows. You can see the extent of that. Now, in and of itself, once again, mold around a window is not uncommon because it's an area where you have condensation. It's always wet, so naturally, if there's always going to be wet, you're always going to have some sort of mold growth there. The key is to keep that under control. Same situation with the air conditioning unit. And once again, you can see the mold here on the bottom of the window. This is pretty much the story with a lot of the windows. Now, although you don't really see any active mold in the house, there was an odor when we walked in, so that prompted us to recommend someone evaluate it further. You can see the water damage here at the bottom of and by the way, this is all wet. The shower door doesn't seal properly, so part of the problem is when you run the shower, water's escaping. You see the water damage here at the bottom of the trim, and if you walk in here, this wall here is actively wet at the bottom. Could be the shower, toilet, both. If you look at the toilet, I'm just going to move it a little bit. You can see that it's very loose. So these are all conditions that you need to get a grip on to find out what the problem is. This is the area in the master bathroom that we discussed earlier. This is the alteration they did. They have a jacuzzi tub here. I think they wanted to install this box out here for the tub area, so they decided to remove the window, put in another window. Some of these areas in the bathroom, I mean, you may want to consider, depending upon your budget, remodel, partial remodel, or just do repairs one by one. In either case, definitely getting a grip on that is important. Overall, to summarize, the roof I think is in good condition, just needs service at the areas where it previously leaked. One of the solutions for the air conditioning system and the mold situation in the house. The air conditioner is 12 years old. It may or may not last much longer. It's anybody's guess. However, if you're going to explore pricing for mold remediation, or someone to come in here and do work to help you get the mold under control, one of the things you can consider is replacing the air conditioner and ductwork, because that price should be compared with the price of cleaning the ductwork to see if it makes sense, which one makes the most sense. Okay. As far as the plumbing goes, I think that the major plumbing stuff is fine. The areas in the kitchen and the bathrooms are areas that do need to be worked on. And the electrical, I have a handful of pretty much minor electrical repairs. Structurally, it seems pretty sound. And I think that's all I got for you right now. The last thing I wanted to pretty much share with you is these appliances are, some of them work and stuff, but they're not in very good condition. There's been a pretty big infestation in here of insects, and they're present actually inside the appliances and inside the cabinets. And given that, I'm going to recommend considering replacing the appliances versus keeping them and cleaning them. But that's your call to make, and you should just weigh out my opinion along with your opinion and see what makes the most sense to you. All right, thanks for your business. I hope this video helped. Have a nice day.